Good evening and welcome to tonight's show from DJNTV, Disc Jockey News TV. Tonight's show is brought to you by Electra Voice, DJ Event Planner, DJ Trivia, Odyssey Innovative Designs and Cases, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, and the DJNTV Insiders. Good evening and welcome to tonight's open DJ chat, where we're going to be talking about a lot of different things, nothing important because that's just the way these chats go. If this is the first time you've ever seen one of these happen on a semi-regular basis, generally once a week. We try to do one either on a Monday or a Tuesday night when Brian is around. He kind of leads these on Tuesday nights. He's been kind of our he and Howie have been our kind of go-to guy. Well, this week, Brian, I think, is somewhere. I think he's still between California and Milwaukee somewhere. But we're going to just kind of hang out here for about a half an hour on DJNTV, the Facebook page, and then we'll be just kind of hanging out and chatting afterwards in a kind of a more private thing. If you want to be getting the link for these types of shows when we do these open to the public or when we do private chats, that's part of being part of our DJNTV Insider, which is out at DJNTVinsider.com. You can go there, you can join at that spot, and you can then get links for this. You can get the different shows we do and all the private chats and different things. That's all out there as part of being an insider. Okay. Yay. So for those of you who didn't have a chance to, we just got to listen to Reggie talk about old time music. Oh, where am I at here? Let me click that. There we go. So Reggie, you were kind of telling sharing a little bit about the band side of it, and I wanted you to kind of talk a little bit more now that we've kind of finished that show. Is what it was like kind of growing up when your parents or your dad was kind of in that entertainment field, and sometimes I feel that my kids absolutely hate the DJ thing, and then there's times where they want to be a part of a DJ. How did that work for you?
Actually, I didn't mind it because at that age I was getting to get to meet girls, because I would go along with my dad as a roadie, and they'd say, "Oh, you're with the band." I'm going like, "Yes, I am." The next thing you know, I'm out dancing with them and having a good time. But then once you hit a certain age, it was like 16, 17, getting closer to 18. Now, mind you, this is back when we still had the 18-year-old drinking age here in Wisconsin. I was 21. So once I got closer to that, wanting to go out and hang with my buddies, go and listen to Dad's polka band. Okay, maybe if he was playing on a Sunday, he might bribe me with a couple of beers to go listen to him.
Oh, see, I never got to experience that.
There's days go by that, when I'm on my way to work at 4 o'clock in the morning, I turn on my local low-power radio station, and there they are, good old-fashioned polka music, every morning, 4 to 6, every morning on my low-power radio station.
That's kind of interesting, because when I was growing up, that was part of the area here, but it wasn't, something that I got into. It was like, that's what the other people did. Howie, in your part of the world, was old time music, was that something that was prevalent out there, or did you guys have kind of a different thing that the above 50 crowd was into in that in the 70s and 80s?
It was more of a family type of thing, which I really, really enjoyed. And actually, they still do we have actually the largest music festival. It's in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and all the Pennsylvania Dutch come in, and of course, the locals and so forth. And they call it the largest because it's the most musical performances in a 10-day period anywhere in the world.
Wow.
And one thing that they still do have is the beer garden, and they have anywhere from an 8 to a 12-piece polka band in there. So it's still very big. you can still get an 8-piece polka band for weddings, but it's not. It is dying off, sadly. They're struggling to keep the culture alive between the German and the Polish.
One of the dance halls that I play at here in Wisconsin, they just remodeled and they found a poster from a band called Babe Winkleman. I think is the name offhand, and it said, "Come here, Babe Winkleman, and his 2,000 pounds of rhythm." Now, wouldn't that to me that sounds like, man, I want to go check this out. What's 2,000 pounds of rhythm look like? You know.
And then you realize that that's the total weight of the band members.
Yep.
We actually have a social club in Allentown that's called the Polish American Club, and they still have a bandstand that is very reminiscent of Lawrence Welk. They have the little music holder, whatever you call facades for the musicians, and they still, that particular band is the for hire band, but it's also the house band.
Scott, down in your neck of the woods, have you been down in Florida pretty much most of your years here, in your entertainment years?
Yes.
What did you guys have that type of an old time influence then that rolled through in that?
We do. Ours hits a southern touch.
Okay.
More of a bluegrass, I would say.
Okay.
And we'll do bluegrass festivals that will last a weekend. They'll start on a Friday and go through to a Sunday, and you'll have all these different bands coming up and playing, which is interesting because you're trying to get the young people involved in the bluegrass, and even that's taking a back seat because being in the South, having country music being prevalent, well, bluegrass between Florida and Georgia, it's still going on, and still a lot of the old timers keep that going here in the South.
Scott, if you could kind of differentiate between kind of a bluegrass sound and a country sound, how would you explain the difference between the two?
It's, well, banjo, fiddle, as they would call it, or violin, as some people would call it, but we refer to it as a fiddle. And it's more of a, it's more of a, you can dance to it, you square dance to it. They do all kinds of stuff, but
you can even do a shaddish to it, John.
Yeah.
In my world up here, it's acoustic. It's more acoustic.
Yeah. You use a steel guitar, but it's more banjo and fiddle than anything else, and mandolin. They play a whole lot of mandolins. But I would say that right now, country is way far away from what bluegrass is. Bluegrass is more the traditional country with an upbeat. All the same thing, and it's just irrelevant over the years. In the 50s and 60s, even in the 30s and 40s, it was really popular. And even up north, I think, even up into Canada, there's still bluegrass festivals going on up there.
Constantly.
He just bands, and they or the quartet actually sing. You don't see if you barbershop
Very seldom. There's a few groups that will do that, but it used to be that you would hire them for doing like a set at a special event.
Chicken barbecue.
Something, yeah. You'd have that, and the guys would come in and they would do a half an hour set, and now you've got the a cappella groups. That there's about 5 or 6 a cappella groups, and I'm not talking to 4 guys from the back room. These are professionals that are traveling around doing their thing. So you don't. I think the only time I have seen a barbershop quartet is in Minneapolis, because they're bringing them in for a special event like the Super Bowl. When they were there, you had acts like that. They were in different places doing different things, giving that flavor of Minnesota type of situation.
Yeah. I like to see. I really do. In fact, thinking of, talk about polka, even where it's dying off. I think it depends on where you're at. I really do.
How we were saying about his festival, we have one up here. I had mentioned it in the prior show, Pulaski Polka Days, and they've just celebrated their 50th anniversary, and 50 years for a celebration to go on for 50 years, and it's growing and growing and growing and getting bigger every year.
Well, not trying to take away from polka, just different styles of different styles. In fact, how you compare bluegrass to polka? Well, it has its specialty too. Now, mind you, I do some Polish weddings that they want. I get the old time parents that they want me to do, 15, 20 minutes of polka, and I've been having to do some digging. So I'm glad you brought this because that's not my forte. I mean, and that's where we all need that help every once in a while. Say, hey, what can we? I know we've all heard of barrel of polka and the stuff that's that's been modernized, like old Weird Al has done.
Yeah,
and I didn't know where to go to. I really
Weird Al, I would not. I consider him
not so much.
I don't even know why it was brought, but I mean, yeah. But that's not having the knowledge and getting the knowledge of what we need to be able to play out there. I literally had to have them make me a list, because normally I can grab from here or grab from there, but with your knowledge on that, Reggie, that's going to help us all out that are still getting requests for that. And I don't know, like John says, he don't get it. You don't get it that often, even where you do. Will you play as much? Do you? I mean, I do a couple of Polish weddings, and I
had one last year where it was 45 minutes to an hour and a half of polkas and waltzes, and how I announced them during the prior show. I announced, hey, it's waltz time, like I did when my dad's band would do, and everybody said, I've never heard a DJ that actually could play an hour and a half's worth of polkas. I says, I haven't even scratched it.
Wow.
If you actually want to know, my library is right around about 7,000 song titles for polkas and waltzes.
Whoa.
Yeah, wow.
We need to talk. My goodness. I mean, it just, and that rolls into some other things here in the South we do square dancing. Square dancing is still being called and still being done. Young people are learning it here.
See, that's got to be a regional thing.
Yeah, it is. It really is, and it's still. We got callers that are good at it. Grab your partner, do-si-do, and they do all the little. And they know how to call it. Some of those guys are in their 70s who call it, but they're really good, and a lot of them are auctioneers. Auctioneers can call. Believe it or not, can call square dancing. Because they know how to do it, you got to be really quick and good at it,
and you've got to have that kind of rhythm in which they would.
One thing I didn't get to mention during the show, I wanted to kind of share with you guys. I did a gentleman's 90th birthday. He's Polish. I figured I seen him walking in with a stroller, and we're like, okay, this is pretty much going to be just a listening party for him, My gosh, I played Eddie Blazonczyk. Kiss Me, I'm Polish. He grabbed a granddaughter and he was out scooting around that dance floor like you wouldn't. And then as soon as that song ended, he grabbed another granddaughter and started scooting around the dance floor. And he said it was the most fun he's had since his wedding night.
Oh my! What memories? What memories that would have created.
The thing is, I told him, I says, he says, I want to do this for my 100th. I says, shoot. I says, if you make it to your 95th, I says, I'll come back up here to Moe's and eat. And I says, I'll play for free. I says, it's not often that I get to enjoy seeing somebody that age enjoying himself. And then to see him sitting there singing in Polish.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And people were getting choked up and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That stuff you don't see anymore.
No, not a bit.
Young people, soak this in out there. You really need to soak a lot of what we're talking about, what Reggie's talking about, whatever, and what Howie brought up as well, and bring that together out there. Keep it alive. Young DJs, please keep that alive.
Some of it will, yeah. You mentioned, Scott, the square dancing, and during that early 90s when line dancing in the country music was becoming a thing, and a lot of the bars were adding a country line dancing night around the area. There were some that were then the VFWs were adding a square dancing night where they were trying to get that up and running and doing some things. Looks like I'm way out of sync here. Sorry about that. But yeah, that was kind of an interesting thing, is that you'd have line dancing over at this bar, you'd have square dancing over at this bar, and then you'd have old time things that were going on, at other bars. So there was, in a given week, you could probably go out dancing like that, with a different style, not just the club type feel, but you could go dancing probably 4 nights a week. And there were people, some of my country dancing friends, who did that. They would go and they would hit 4 or 5 nights a week. And one gal, she said, "This is the best shape I've ever been in my whole life, because I go out and I dance for 3 to 4 hours, 4 nights a week, and I don't drink anymore, so I don't." It's like, wow.
We taught it. In fact, I worked at a country and western bar back in the 80s that was both top 40 and country. They taught it. They taught it on Sunday night. You wanted to learn how to come do line dancing, they would teach it, and they were line dancing, John, to everything back then.
Yep. Yes.
They were putting everything together. I heard them even line dancing to a Huey Lewis song one time. I'm like, kidding me? I said, yeah.
Yeah, anything that has a beat.
In fact, it was Hip to Be Square. The song was the way that song had the beat to it. You could do a 4/4 line dance to that song, but it was Hip to Be Square. I played it one day, and there's these people getting out there on the floor, and they're doing they called it like a tush push or something. They called it.
Yep,
I'm doing it on the floor, and I'm like, "You're kidding me!" And it just everything from Ronnie Millsap, Hank Williams Jr., Kalijah, they would do a line dance to it. I used to play a song called Cotton Eye Joe, not the rock version or not the pop version.
The old version.
The old version.
Isaac Payton's Sweet One.
Right? And it was, they would do, get out, and I still get that. I had someone come to me. I have it on my my list, and somebody, "You got that?" I said, "Yeah, I have a 12-inch of it. I had to order it from Texas. That's the only place you can get it, and it came from Texas." And I think that 12-inch cost me almost, by the time I had it shipped, it was like $10, and that was back in the 80s. And I ordered 2 copies. Just shave on shipping. I just went ahead and ordered 2 copies of it, and I actually still have it on vinyl. We had to convert it. That's all we could do, is convert it to. I converted it from CD, and then I went and converted the other, and that was very popular. And with even the pop version, I get a lot of people wanting to do that. The other thing they do is I'm trying to remember the name of it. I call it the river dance. Oh gosh, what is it? I got to think of it. It's the top of my head now, and I can't think what it is. It talks about a still and talks about all, but they do a dance. They do a dance like an Italian type dance to it, and all. I have to look it up and see what it is, but I get a lot of requests for stuff like that. Line dances are still popular, even in the country part of it. But they still teach it. It's just it's died off. It's not as prevalent as it was even in the 90s, John. It was really a big thing. Like you said, bluegrass. They would square dance over here, line dancing here, and of course, then it got to the point where they were line dancing to everything.
Exactly. Yep. I remember that when the bar used to be on Wednesday nights was country night, and the first like 5 years it was only country night. Then as country was starting to, this would have been 98, then you were starting to see less interest in the country. So then they would open it up and it's like, okay, for the last hour you can play a mix. Then it became, well, you sprinkle a couple in each hour, and then the last hour you can go. And what would end up happening is the country people were ticked off about that. So they would do that. They would line dance to no matter what song I played that was not country, they would line dance to it. And they took the leisure of when they were doing things like a slap and leather and there's a kick in it, they would, the kickball change type of thing. Yeah, they would be kicking the other people who were out there dancing on the floor with them, and it became this thing going on. But
oh yeah, I just thought of that song. It's Copperhead Road.
Oh,
that's the name of it. Copperhead Road.
Yep. And that's an interesting thing. There's a few songs, and that's actually one of them that I'll have kids out of school, and they'll come up and say, "Hey, can you play this song?" No. And they'll continue on, and then it's like you play. I was thinking, okay, I'm going to play like this much of it just to get them off my back. So I go in, and then all of a sudden they line up, and there's like 100 kids doing that dance to it. And it's like they must teach it in Fayette or something. That's the only thing I can come up with.
Remember this?
Yeah, I haven't seen that one in a long time. Although I heard
Macarena. I was down South Florida. And I had a kid come up to me. I was doing a birthday party. There were 35 kids there, and they all went to the same school. They were mostly from Puerto Rico. Mm-hmm. They hand me Los Del Rio Macarena. Open it up. There's two old guys on the front of this thing. I'm like, what in the world? This is what they popped it in the CD player, hit it, and they said, here, go to this version. I went to the version. They all started lining up and doing this. I'm calling a buddy of mine in North Florida going, dude, this thing's going to hit. What is it? It's a Macarena. The what? I said, you guys will find out in about a month or so. That thing went like wildfire. They remixed it. It actually started in Puerto Rico and came over, and of course, South Florida got hit with it. I had DJs calling me up wanting to find a copy of it. They couldn't find it. I went to the store, the CD store. I went to Best Buy the next day and bought 2 copies of that CD. And, of course, they remixed it, had Scatman and a bunch of other stuff on it, a compilation, and boom, that thing hit. If I could have had a camera phone back then, this was in like 92.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what time when it hit.
Yeah, that would have been early.
It hit, and I was like, oh, my gosh. And, of course, it was like anything else. We were playing Achy Breaky and doing Hokey Pokey to Achy Breaky. If you remember when Achy Breaky, I was so sick of that song. Everywhere I went, play Achy Breaky. Oh.
You're mentioning about the Macarena. I did a graduation party one time in Hancock, Wisconsin. 9 families got together and threw a graduation party for their kids. So each family invited 50 people, so 9 times 50 is 450 people in a hall. And they're all doing the Macarena, and it's just like, I had my nephew along at the time as a roadie. We had to hold my speaker stands from keeping the speaker from falling over, because when everybody jumped, they would go, whoa, whoa.
Yep.
Whoa, whoa.
So you imagine having probably a few hundred people out on a wood dance floor doing the Macarena.
Yeah.
DJ's worst nightmare.
Oh yeah.
We were glad that it came out, because we were so sick of the electric boogie or the electric slide.
Mm-hmm.
And I make a joke every time I play that song.
Stumble this way, stumble back, stumble forward, stumble back, stumble to the side.
I will make a joke. I always go, okay, electric sliders, batteries are not included.
I might have to use that.
Huh?
I might have to use that.
Yeah. Well, people didn't know what that song was. Well, I had a guy from Jamaica tell me what that song was. This was back 10 years ago. And I'm like, it's what? It's a what? It's a female device. I'm like, no. He said, yeah. That's what they call it. They call it electric slide over there.
Yeah.
And Oh my goodness.
That has since been denied by
Yeah,
the author of the song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was kind of debunked. But
He let the urban legend ride because it's sold music.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. There's nothing.
Well, and that was somebody from Jamaica is the one that told me about that, being that. And, it's like anything else that gets started on something like that.
Mhm.
But I had somebody that told me that 10 years ago. And ever since when I heard that, even this last year, I've heard about it again. I said, oh my God, it surfaced again. We kind of kept our mouth shut because we didn't believe it at first.
Yeah.
It's one of them things that you tell, it gets out there and it goes. But we as DJs, we need to make sure that we, even if we can't stand something, but we know that our guests like it, we got to pretend like we like it. There's a lot of guys out there that I won't play this because I don't like it. How many songs that we don't like? Think about that. I mean, and we hear this music every day. That's like, I'm so sick of We Are Family. I've probably played it 30 years.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
But they may not hear that like we hear it all the time. And we've got to learn to put our personal, what we like for our music. And my guests, people will ask me, what kind of music do you like? I like all kinds of music. I've learned to be very versatile in what I do. And there's a lot of music I don't like, but I know that my guests want to hear it. And I have to put my personal differences aside. I know we've had this, probably brought this discussion up before, but please keep an open mind out there, guys. We're in a business where we have to.
Mhm.
Getting back to, not to cut you off, Scott, but I got to get going here shortly. But getting back to the Pulpus thing, I was playing my lady that I'm with. She works at a veterans home here in Wisconsin, and she works on the Alzheimer's ward.
Sure.
And they had me come in one time, and I played a snippet of it, a song called She Likes Kielbasa. And a lady, after I played it, the lady comes over to me and goes like this, come here. She says, don't you have the Polish version? I mean, whereas she actually sat and sang the entire song in Polish. And she took me out for not having it in Polish.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the thing is, a lot of these younger DJs out there got to remember, like you were saying, even though if you don't like something, you got to play it. Because music stirs up something in the mind that I've seen in this Alzheimer's ward. Playing Patsy Cline. This lady just kind of sitting there like this, and suddenly she hears Patsy Cline, and it's like, and then she starts singing it. As soon as it's over, she goes back to nap time.
Yeah, isn't that something? Yeah, we've seen that a couple.
Yeah, it's music changes people. It really, like you said, it does.
Medication that you can't. There's something about it.
Yeah, that there is. Well, guys, we're going to wrap up this live segment here on DJNTV out on the YouTube channel and such. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll continue on with the live chat. And, of course, to get that link, you're going to need to be either on the Insiders or follow one of the links that are out there on this. So thank you much for watching, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.